Yo, what is up guys, welcome to new video. This is the video number 6 of my YouTube series on how to make progressive house, and today we're gonna talk about the build-up. The build-up, for the people that don't know what the build-up is the part where the track starts going up, so you know that the drop is coming. Before we go to the tutorial, I know that most of the people that watch these videos is not subscribed, so right now scroll down, click subscribe button, and let's start. Okay, so here I have the track. I've made a lot of groups, so everything is glued, and I think it's better for me to explain everything. And just start from the beginning. Okay, as you may know, as I told in the previous tutorial, I have a kick on the breakdown, so I keep this kick during the build-up. Okay, so I have that low end, but the thing is that I don't want that low end during all the build-up. So what I do is, with this filter, with this EQ, I start taking out all the low end of the kick. And also what I do is, with this volume, with this free to balance, okay, with this automation clip, I reduce the volume of the kick, so here you mainly don't hear the kick. So after the kick, what we have is the percussion of the breakdown, okay, the claps and so on. And really simple, I just wanted to keep those claps and those rides going on the build-up. So what I did, just reduce the volume. After that, we have the snares. For me, the snares are the most important thing of a build-up, because it's what keeps the rhythm, what tells you that this is the build-up and that the drop is coming. As I said in the previous tutorial, I had the snares with filter during the breakdown. The most common build-up of a track is this one. Just a snare in every beat. Okay, then doing it twice and making it sound faster. But I wanted to have it with more rhythm and so on, so for this reason I make this rhythm. So this way it sounds different, sounds more interesting. And what I'm doing here is just taking out all the filter I had on the snares, and then here these pitch things. So what they do is just they pitch the snare up. So you have this feeling of something going up, this uplifting feeling. What I also did here is just a simple filter, and with that what I do is I reduce the low end of the snares, and then here I did the same with the leads, okay, with this thing. So I make them lose almost all its sound, so they sound thinner, but it gives a lot of energy to the track. Okay, so and at the end of the build-up I just have the top end of the snares. What I also did is just a simple volume automation with the free to balance, where I increase the volume because, as I said, the snares for me are the most important thing, so I want them to be really present in the mix on the build-up part. Also, in this build-up I wanted to be a bit different, okay, so for this reason on the snares I made this rhythm, but this wasn't enough for me, so I decided to put some orchestral hits. Okay, so with the snares they work like this. So it's something different, okay, it's not really usual to listen to these hits on a progressive house track. And what I also did is I cloned this orchestral hit, and I put it like this in this part, so it gives more rhythm. More like a natural sound, a natural drummer. On the mixer is really simple. They just have a reverb, the same as in the percussions, an EQ to reduce here to leave a space for the snares, also here because they were a bit muddy, a limiter to control the peaks, this filter, because what I do is the same as in the kick and as in the snares. I reduce the low end, and also free to balance, so I reduce the volume. So they go out because this is not the main important thing. The main important things are the leads and the snares. And the last thing is this volume shaper, because as I already have the snares and as I already have the kick, I have too much transients on every beat, so I decided to reduce the transient of these orchestral hits, so it leaves more space for the kick and for the snare. I've already talked about the leads on other tutorials. Really simple, just a filter that goes in and makes with this EQ I made the leads really thin. Nothing on the chorus, nothing on the bass line, nothing on the sub. I've already talked about the pads too. It's really simple. What I do is I open the cutoff of the pads, but what I also do is reduce the volume. Okay, so I make them sound huge or bigger with more height and so on, but I don't want them to be really present because I'm not gonna use them on the drop. Okay, and if they have really strong pads with a lot of volume at the end of the build-up in this part, the problem is that if the pads are really strong and really loud, what's gonna happen is then that in the drop, as I don't use them, it's gonna be really weird, because like I have something really strong really present in the mix and then I don't have it, so it's really weird. So I prefer to reduce the volume with this volume automation. I also did the same with the plugs, as I already said in previous tutorials. I just reduced the volume and the cutoff of the plugs, so I leave a space for the leads because the plugs had the melody, but the thing is that now the most important thing that have the melody are the leads, so I leave a space for the leads. These are things that I already explained in the previous tutorial. And now the effects, they in my opinion are another important thing. If you have effects on the build-up, yeah, it can sound nice, but it's not gonna sound huge, it's not gonna sound perfect, it's not gonna give the same uplifting feeling. Okay, so first of all, what you want on the build-up is some crashes, some impacts, so you know that this is the build-up. All right, it gives energy at the beginning and you keep the energy going up at the end. All right, so I just have these down lifters that I use on the drop. Also this one, okay, is a bit different because it's quieter, and I took out the sidechain of it. I also have some crashes, so the transition is smoother. As I already said, I have these two sounds, this atmosphere one and this riser, all track, all the breakdown, and this transition impact. And here I have also this impact. I'm gonna put it up here. Just a new impact, just a simple EQ to reduce the highs, to leave a space here for the snares and so on, and to cut the low end because I have the kick. Now we have this. You know that the drop is the build-up is here, okay, but we need something to make the build-up go up, okay, to rise the energy. So let's start with the first effect. This one is a really good effect because it has everything. It has impact, it has riser, it has down lifters. Really simple EQ, just leave a space here a bit. I have a supervisor. I have a compressor to make it, it's mainly a limiter to make it sound really flat. Then I have an EQ. And then what I have is a filter because I didn't want to have anything here at the beginning. So what you do is, as it goes up, I bring in those highs that I lost. These two effects were from Silent, I think, from a sound bank, and I exported them and I used them in a lot of tracks. This one too. So it starts here, and here you start having something going up. So if we look on this 4, they work pretty well together and it gives the energy of going up, but it needs something else, and what I mean is that it needs to cover space. So what I like to do is use some white noise uplifters. Like this one or this one. Okay, they cover different areas and together it sounds super good. And I also found this riser, more distorted. So all of these risers go to a bus, because as you may know, I like to do some buses where I have a reverb, a really big one, and they have a pretty balance to control the volume, because in this track what I wanted is to have really smooth things. I wanted all the track to be going up during the breakdown and the build-up and so on. So I didn't want here in the build-up to start with really loud risers. So what I do is from here I started putting a riser and I control the volume. So here they are not that loud and they keep going up in volume until the end of the build-up. So you have a bit more control on the risers, and here I just decrease the volume to 0 so I don't have any reverb or so on. And that's mainly the build-up. What you have to think is that you need some snares, okay, to keep the rhythm and to make the listeners know that the drop is coming, to start putting in the sounds of the drop. For example, in this case the leads, and some tracks I have the chords and the bass line. What's also good is to use some effects, some risers, because it gives a lot of energy to the track, to the build-up and so on, and you know that the track is going up. But what you have to have in mind is that you need to reduce the low end of everything, okay? For example, on the kick I reduce the low end of the kick, on the snares I do the same, on the orchestral hits I do the same. Why I do that? Because if you reduce the volume on the build-up, then when the drop comes, it comes with the kick and with the sub, so you bring back that low end, okay, and that gives a lot of energy. I also like to use some effects on the master to give more energy to the build-up, but the problem is that normally the project crashes because they have a lot of effects, a lot of sounds going on. So I normally use it on the mastering, and it's really simple. I have a tutorial about it, a pretty old tutorial. I will put a link up here, but if you want me to do a newer version of that tutorial, just leave it in the comments. And the trick is just to put some reverb, some delay, to make it sound more in the center, reduce the volume, take out the low end and the top end of the track. So what you're doing is make it sound huge with the reverb and the delay, but you're taking out things like the lows and the highs, so then when drop comes you bring back those things and it makes the drop sound a lot bigger when it is not that big, you know, but the impact is so strong. So this is the end of this video, guys. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. As I said, if you want me to make a newer version of the tutorial about how to make the build-up sound huge, leave it also in the comments. Leave a like if this video helped you, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and in the next video I will talk about the vocals I used on the breakdown, okay, how to get vocals if you don't have a singer, okay. There are some packs and that you can use and make things sound interesting. And guys, see you in the next video.